Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Game 1 version of the JP Peterson Show. We are jacked up for some hockey tonight after watching Game 1 of the NBA Western Conference Finals last night. Oh, wait, no, that was a hockey game, wasn't it? I thought George Gervin was playing in Denver there last night with a finger roll or two. An 8-6 final in the Western Conference. What the hell's going on out there? Welcome to the show. We got a good one for you this morning. Scott Reynolds is going to join us at 10:30 from the Pewter Report to talk about the acquisition of Akeem Hicks. Did not see that one coming. So we'll talk about the merits of that signing by your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Certainly a big signing, no doubt about that. Brian Bradley will join us at 11 o'clock. We'll get his take on tonight's Game 1. He'll be flying up to New York a little bit later on today to join the team in Madison Square Garden for tonight's Game 1. It's 8 o'clock puck drop. There will be a big-ass watch party in Amalie Arena tonight with all the accoutrements, Greg Wolf and Shannon C, all the folks. Not me. They don't need me for those parties. So I get to watch and enjoy the game a little bit more. Nick Geddes from Outkick.com joining me here this morning. How are you, sir?
I'm jacked up today. I'm ready to go. It's Game 1, Lightning Rangers. I'm ready to go.
I'd like to say this is a rare occurrence, but it's not. Actually, I'm glad to say it's not a rare occurrence. 6 times in the last 8 years, the Lightning have made the Final Four. And if that's not, with 2 cups, if that's not a dynasty, I don't know what is, especially in the salary cap era. With incredible kudos to Julien Brisebois, John Cooper, obviously, Jeffrey Vinnick, the entire organization that just continues to be committed to excellence in every way. Do whatever it takes to get it done. Trade first-round picks, pay whatever you got to pay to make things happen. It is committed ownership at its very, very best. No question about it. And this is the result that you get when you employ a lot of high-character people who set a standard and never go below it. It's fun to watch, and we will see it personified on the ice tonight as the Lightning and the Rangers get after it. And, breaking down this matchup, I saw a key stat this morning that I thought was very interesting. You talk about teams that rely on their goaltender, and certainly the Lightning would be in that category, I would think. But I did not know the Rangers were this dependent on Igor Shesterkin. During their first 2 playoff series with the Pens and the Hurricanes, both of which went 7 games, even strength, high danger chances, and this is very much one of those easier stats that you can understand and I can understand. The Canes had 101 high danger chances. The Rangers in 5-on-5 play managed 69, which Gronk loves. 69. That's a tremendous disparity. Now, against the Penguins, who were not even at full strength, the Penguins generated 122 high danger chances to the Rangers 59. 59. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Rangers are not a very good team. They are. They're a very good team. Those are striking disparities in 5-on-5. So I'm no hockey genius, but I can tell you right now that if I'm the Lightning, I want to stay out of the box. The Rangers' power play is tremendous. It's been, they've got Panarin, Adam Fox, Zibanejad, Kreider in front of the net, one of the best to do it. They're really, really good. But the Lightning penalty kill has been damn good as well. And the best way to keep people from getting power play goals is to not get into the box. So, and I think the Lightning showed that in the first 5 games against Toronto, they had issues with that, but they fixed it, and now they've won 6 games in a row, and a lot of that is because they've kept their ass out of the box for the most part, and that's going to be another key in this one.
I feel pretty certain to tell you that what we saw last night, I don't know if there'll be that many goals scored in this series, to be honest with you. 14 goals scored last night. It looked like a football game, 8-6. I have a hard time believing this one's going to match up to that one.
No.
Certainly there is a lot of talent still on the ice in this, but 2 goaltenders like this, and I'm trying to like rack my brain here thinking, when was the last time we had a goaltender matchup like this?
It's been a while.
In the playoffs. And I mean, this has got to be up there with like Hasek and Brodeur from back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think it's that good. 2 Russians, obviously. I mean, imagine if we had the Olympics, who would have been the starter? I have no idea.
That's a great question.
That's a great question. Not a bad problem to have.
I think Vasi would get the nod just on seniority.
Probably.
And in big time experience. But there are many that will tell you that Shesterkin is the best goalie in the world right now.
Yeah.
And his numbers this year would certainly back that up. I think he definitely had a better regular season than Vasi did. But I saw a couple of Rangers fans last night talking about the regular season series, and I had to tweet back at them, "Oh, is this your first run in deep into the postseason? You think the regular season matters? Isn't that cute? That's nice." It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. This is a completely different type of game. It's different. Now I will say this: the Lightning have not really been able to solve Shesterkin in those 3 games. So I think that's part of it. But again, this is a different atmosphere. It's a different level of intensity, and Shesterkin probably knows at this point that without him, they're dead in the water. So there's a lot of pressure on him, no question about it. But we'll see if this young goaltender can take that next step, like Vasilevsky has done. To me, history tells us that it does take some time for guys to be able to play in this moment. But we'll find out. That's why they play the games. As far as health goes, Braden Point not skating, will not play anytime soon. I believe he's not going to be able to play in these playoffs, but you never know. Not even skating at this point, so can't count on him. We've seen a lot of different things in practice. Riley Nash has been out there with Hagel being a little bit banged up as well. So we'll see. They may go 11-7, which has obviously been very, that worked out pretty well against the Panthers. But whatever happens tonight, the Lightning, I think, will, I think they're bound to have a little bit of rust. I would expect the Rangers to take an early lead in this game. Maybe even, this might be an outlier game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lightning lost this one convincingly just because of, sitting on your ass for 9-10 days. It's not easy.
And we talked about this during the regular season, that when the Lightning had their breaks, they seemed to not play did not play well when they got off of those breaks. So it will be something to keep your eye on. Real quick, because I just came across this. We talked a little bit about ticket prices.
Yeah.
And I said the Lightning are really expensive to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Get in price for tonight starts at $513
in the Garden.
Yeah. And for the Lightning, game 3, $293.
Yeah.
And if this goes game 7, if this goes to a game 7, it'd be Madison Square Garden. The cheapest ticket right now is going for $912.
Yeah. It's a big time.
Wow.
Yeah. And it ain't easy to get into the Garden for the Rangers. The Rangers have always been an extremely popular team in New York. They're Yankee-esque. When you think about the franchises in New York as far as the most popular, and this is just from the outside looking in, I would say the Yankees and, the Knicks have been so bad for so long.
Fan base has turned there.
I mean, Jets and Giants, awful. The Mets are having a nice year, but consistently, I don't think they bring the fan base. Wouldn't you say the Rangers are maybe the second most popular team in New York?
Yeah, you can make that argument.
Yeah.
I'd almost like the Islanders are like tucked away, obviously.
Yeah.
But they have a very passionate group of what they have.
Yeah.
I just want one of are these teams going to win something? One of them?
Anytime
soon?
When's the last?
I'm waiting on it.
When's the last New York championship?
what is it? Giants 2012, Yankees 09.
Oh, Yankees 09.
Mets have not won in a long
Knicks,
time.
1967. when was
the Islanders have been since the four-peat.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Buffalo never. That goes for all Buffalo sports.
Yeah, well,
if they even count.
Not New York City anyway, but
the Nets, meh.
Meh.
A lot of meh.
A lot of meh.
Getting a lot of meh.
A lot of nothing there. A lot of nothing there, and a lot of nothing burgers in New York. Well, our good friends at Smack Apparel, who came up with this great number one bullshit T-shirt, which I had to wear today for Game 1. They have a New York or Tampa Bay greater than New York shirt that they have out now with the skylines, which I like. So our Smack Apparel people will stop by tomorrow and tell you all the offerings they have with great shirts, as they always do. Yeah, so I think I'm not. My expectations for tonight's game are lower than normal. I just watching the way the Lightning have played over these past couple of years, these breaks do tend to make them lose their timing a little bit. I hope it just doesn't extend to the game on Friday. I don't think it will. And the Lightning could come out and just pick up right where they left off as well. They're healthy and ready to go, and that's good. Yeah,
and on the flip side of it, New York having the quick turnaround, having just played on Monday in Carolina and getting over that hurdle. That could be tough mentally to get right back in it. Yeah. And here come the two-time defending Stanley Cup champs, who I told you yesterday I thought they were going to be the favorite, the Lightning, and they might be on the betting.
The favorite. Yeah, they are the favorite.
I've been looking around at a lot of pundits, analysts to see their take on it, and I found it interesting that ESPN's panel yesterday on the point, 3 of the 4 going with the Rangers.
Really?
3 of the 4. The only one going with the Lightning is Brian Callahan going against his Rangers.
Wow.
But Torts, I guess he has more allegiance to the Rangers, went with the Rangers.
He picked the Panthers as well.
He picked the Panthers. The Lightning have gotten picked against in every series.
Keep it coming.
By that same panel.
Yeah.
But the worst thing.
Melrose picked the Lightning to win this series and the whole thing.
Probably the worst thing, though, is our boy Biz and TNT has now picked the Lightning after he went against us first 2 rounds. So that's not good.
Didn't I see him on it with a Rangers jersey?
He might flip-flop. He flip-flops a lot.
Yeah.
But right now he's got the Lightning.
Interesting. Well, I'm picking my
the coaches, by the other players that are playing.
Sorry about that. My
your magic cord.
My little cord popped out there, so the audio went in and out. Let me cue this back up 1 second.
Last year, we knew we were going to lose some players that Stanley Cup fans. So we knew that was going to be a loss, but we also went into the off season with the idea of trying to win some more and try to be a Stanley Cup contender again. And we went into the off season knowing we'd probably be in a position to at least compete for the Stanley Cup. A lot has to go your way in order to win one. And obviously we're not there yet, but we went in with the ambition to have a nice long playoff run again. So all the decisions that we make, some that are seem probably unimportant at the time and most people don't see, but every time the coaches make decisions, they're making decisions to help us increase our odds of being successful. Every time we in management make decisions, we're making decisions in the hopes of increasing our odds of being successful. And if you can add all these 0.1% here and 0.1% there, hopefully at the end you have a competitive team. And
obviously their goals in retooling this roster. And one thing that maybe gone unsaid there is they have really gone all in. They have eschewed draft picks and gone out and gotten players that will come in and help right now. Obviously, you can't do that forever, but with the core of this team signed, you just need to keep adding these pieces here and there. And, obviously the additions of Nick Paul and Brandon Hagel have been tremendous. And I don't count on this, but, if Hagel can't play, it's so lightning-like that Riley Nash comes in and scores
something.
Even though he's more of a defensive player, just he'll have a flash of brilliance here or there and probably win a game, and we'll go, Jiminy Christmas, they just don't stop.
Yeah, but I hope Hagel plays because I think he really has found his footing in this lineup. He's kind of found his role. He's been so close to scoring. So close to scoring. The guy could have 10 goals right now in the playoffs.
Very
honestly.
Matthew Joseph-esque.
Very at the moment. I have a feeling, though, if he plays, I think he's going to score a big goal for you. I think at some point he's going to get off this schneid because he's been in every single high danger area you can be without scoring.
I know. He's had a lot of opportunities, and just sometimes you just need one to go in to get, stop gripping your stick so hard.
It might be a pinball. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'll take it though.
Yeah, well, this guy that he's going up against now doesn't
Probably
make it any easier.
Pinballs in.
Doesn't make it any easier. All right, let's listen to Steven Stamkos and Victor Hedman talk about the 3 matchups with the New York Rangers in the regular season and what impact, if any, they have in the postseason here.
At the end of the day, we know what kind of team they are, and we've obviously they had our numbers in the regular season, but this is a different time of the year. And, for us, we, like Stammer said, when it's down to 4 teams, there's elite teams left. And, we're one of them and them.
Into games and be tough to play against and, try to suffocate teams and try to not give them very good opportunities. Obviously, you're not going to play a perfect game. That's why you have, Bassey back there. But for the most part, we want to play the tight checking game. And I think New York, plays that way too. I mean, they had great numbers in the regular season in terms of defending. They just, showed that again the last couple games. And so that's what I would expect. I would expect a hard fought, tight checking, series.
Yeah, goals are going to be at a premium in this one. So everyone that is scored is going to be like gold, unlike last night's McDavid, McKinnon, Big Mac affair of 8-6. And we're just, you just see the difference in goaltending and the quality in these 2 series. It's going to be dramatic, and it's going to be dramatic to see, who advances and how those 2 different styles are going to play out. That's going to be very interesting as well. What's the next one we got here? Stamkos, Brisebois, Cooper, and McDonough all talking about this matchup with the Rangers.
At this time of the year, when you're down to 4, it's going to be 4 elite teams. So they're an elite team. They have the blueprint to be an elite team. They got a great goalie, really solid defense. Obviously, some offensive guys there in Fox in particular, and then some very, very skilled forwards, great special teams. And then not only the skilled forwards, they got a lot of depth. They have guys that certainly play the role and have done a tremendous job. So, watching the game last night, whoever we're going to play, it was going to be a huge test, our toughest one yet. And we're looking forward to that challenge.
To be successful in the playoffs, it comes down to resilience. And that was the key, I think, to our success the last 2 postseason runs. And I think that resiliency is what allowed us to get past the first 2 opponents. And hopefully we still have some of that available to us, because this is going to be a really tough out. These New York Rangers have shown some really good resiliency on their own, going 7 twice against some good teams and finding a way to win those 2 series.
As Julian pointed out, they are a resilient group. Any team that goes down 3-1 and 3-2 in consecutive series and comes back and wins those games probably says something about the character in the room. I know the coach well, so I know he always brings the best out of the guys. I think they've got a dynamic to their team that is deep into their lineup. You look at that young line they have. They're young kids, but in its first overalls and second overall, these guys are exceptional players that are now coming into their own, and they've been cutting their teeth in the league. And I think your flying thing is They defend.
They defend really well. They play really well
Ryan
structurally, and got a lot of speed all the way through the lineup. So it's a good skating team with a lot of speed, and it forces you to really have to play quick, anticipate your next play. Like Killer said, we try and focus on what we can control and the way we're playing. And for us, it's about being simple and defending hard ourselves and letting our offense come from there. I think they do a good job of that themselves.
Are we in for a boring series? Are we? I hope not. And I don't necessarily think that low-scoring series are boring. I mean, if you got two goalies making ridiculous saves right and left, well, that's exciting as well. So
it won't be a boring series, but I think, again, going back to the series that we saw last night,
compare.
That is so wide open. And like even Kel McCarr said after that game, he's like, that's not playoff hockey. We know that. That's not playoff hockey.
Gretzky said that last night too.
Yeah, you can't. That's just not going to happen. But, I mean, with those two teams, they could do it because that's the way they both play. But the Lightning, though, I mean, they're not going to allow that to happen to them. And New York doesn't have that firepower to play that way. And truthfully, I don't think the Lightning do either. So I think you are in for a lot of maybe 3-2, 2-1, even 1-0 shutout. I think that's what you're in for. And because I said that, now it's probably going to be a sprint shootout 6-5.
I can't. Not with these two goalies. Not happening.
I can't see it, but you never know.
Well, let's listen to Killorn and Stamkos talk about Vasi versus Igor Shesterkin. Love that name. That's a good villain name too.
It's very tough to beat them, to score low on them. You kind of have to get in their way. They have to not be able to see the puck. You have to make it really difficult on them. He's obviously a very high-class goalie. We've seen in these playoffs he's been able to, play well. I don't know about steal games, but he's been great in a lot of high-pressure situations, just like Vasilevsky. But when you can't see the puck, it makes it a lot more difficult. So we're going to try to do that.
You guys are going to make the comparisons. We know what we have in our guy, and obviously, he's had a tremendous year in New York, great regular season, and he's on a really good run right now. But I think for us, no matter, what goaltender we've played, over the past couple of years, I mean, it's not the main focus. We got to go out there and play our best. And, if it's going to be a low scoring series, it's going to be a low scoring series. We're totally fine with that. If you got two elite goaltenders and two teams that are willing to defend, then so be it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of these teams go, change their strategy based on, how good the goalie is. You just got to keep, as Killorn said, whenever you have great goalies, you got to get traffic in front of them. You got to have to score dirty goals. There's not going to be, and the Lightning have to understand that in terms of, don't overpass, get shots on net. And, it sounds a little bit like a contradiction because you're going to have to make an incredible pass to get an open net to shoot into. So, I think what Killorn said, though, is obviously the game plan. Get people in front of him, take away his sight, make him uncomfortable, and then hopefully you can sneak one through. And as far as the rest goes, the rest versus Russ, the 9 days off. Here's John Cooper and McDonough addressing that.
Want to be. You just don't know how you're going to get there. You don't know if you're going to have, like the Rangers going to have 2 days off. You're going to have 9 days off. It's different every single year. The bottom line is we're here. And so, I think we've practiced 4 of the last 6 days. Guys are energized. Guys are excited. Guys are slowly starting to heal. Is that going to equate into a game 1 win? I guess we'll have to see. But I know that the guys are ready. The one thing about rest is you get rest. And so you get to kind of recharge the batteries. Maybe the negative part of it is if you've been out of the fight a little bit. So now you got to get yourself back into it. But for us, and I said this before, if there was any year that we could have used this break, this was the year. And so we're thankful we got it, we earned it. But now we have to do something with it. That's our next step.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, two teams that have earned the right to be there. And, I can speak for our group. We're as hungry and as desperate and as, willing to do whatever it takes at this point to try and keep this journey going here. So we've had a lot of time to think and prep. And now we know our opponent. And it's exciting that we get to go out and finally play tomorrow.
It's Ryan McDonough on the rest. Yeah, it can work both ways. So we'll find out tonight. I guess obviously if you're an experienced group like the Lightning, you know how to handle it. You know how to dial it up. You know what it's going to be like, the intensity level. You've been there, you've done it. So I think there's a little bit less chance for them to be not up to the intensity level. So we'll talk to Brian Bradley at 11 o'clock and talk some more Lightning, get his thoughts on this matchup. All right, I want to get to a couple other big stories before we talk to Scott Reynolds at 10:30 from Pewter Report, and obviously the big one with the Bucks. Akeem Hicks signed instead of Ndamukong Suh. He's 3 years younger than Ndamukong Suh, 32 years old, 6'4", 335. Played with the Bears for many, many years. Last year, only 9 games, 3.5 sacks, 25 tackles. Played only 5 games in 2019. Look, when defensive linemen turn 30, they are often injured, and Akeem Hicks has been one of those. But when he is healthy, he is a tremendous, and I mean tremendous, difference maker. He is unblockable at times. To imagine he and Vita Vea in there, wow, that's just a wow. But will he play? I mean, he gets injured a lot. And typically when you've missed this many games in the past couple of years as a big defensive lineman, you don't get better. You don't suddenly have a year where you play 16 games, 17 games, and a lot of snaps. It's not happening. He's going to be a rotational guy, highly, heavily laden incentive contract that could be worth up to $10 million. I mean, if he's healthy, he's a huge difference maker, but that's a really, really big if.
Yeah, there is some risk there, especially with the injury history. He's missed 20 games in the last 3 years, so that shows you right there.
It's a lot.
But I will say, last year in
and
the
ankles, lower body,
yeah, and for
good.
a big guy, that's even worse. Right, we see that with Vita Vea already. But what I will say, and I know Pro Football Focus is not the end all be all, but I rely on them a lot with trench play like that. According to their metric from last year in the 9 games, Akeem Hicks did grade out as a top 20 defensive tackle at his position. And Ndamukong Suh was outside the top 50 in that marker. Now, obviously, in Ndamukong Suh, I would say his play was probably better than that from what I saw with the 6.5 sacks. But we talked about it with Scott Reynolds a lot. The Bucs definitely saw the Rams game where he just could not, or the Rams game was his best game, but the ones leading up to that where he just could not get to the boundaries anymore. He just couldn't run. And he's 3-4 years older than Akeem Hicks. I know he doesn't have the injury history, but I've also heard, like, Warren Sapp has had lots of quotes in regards to playing that position, that you could have one great year like that, come back the next year, and you just get a wall that hits you out of nowhere. Yeah. And I think that's even more of a risk for the Bucs to pay him $10 million than to give it to Akeem Hicks here, who, if he plays, I think unquestionably he's a better player.
He's got to be healthy. I think they just came to the conclusion that Suh was done. And it's, and they know better than anybody. They have him every day. They see, the numbers aren't just the numbers. They know exactly what he can and cannot do. And you get a feel for what teams know about your players, and then you have to move on. It's got to be tough for Todd Bowles. Obviously, everybody loves Suh. I think he did a great job. He's a tremendous leader these past couple of years. I think he was a great find and a great fit and a huge part of winning the Super Bowl, but it's time.
Yeah, and we listened to Devin White talk last week about what he needs to do in his leadership, and I think that's needed now because you're not having Ndamukong Suh back anymore. You're not having Jason Pierre-Paul. That's 2 of your big veterans who have done everything and then some in this league that are no longer there. Yeah. So there's a void there to be filled in regards to leadership. And I think that's going to be Devin White's role to step into that. Maybe even Shaq Barrett's role, because he's now all of a sudden the senior of the pass rushers and not even an old guy himself. So a lot of change for the Bucs, but I applaud Jason Licht because we went into this offseason thinking, how are we going to bring back our own guys, let alone get other guys?
Yeah.
And they got Shaq Mason, Logan Ryan, Keanu Neal, and
Akeem Hicks.
And Russell Gage.
Yeah. So a lot of good veteran players right there. A lot of good veteran
players they were able to bring in. And I still think Gronk's coming back. I don't think this precludes anything.
No.
So I think Jason Licht, once again, A+.
Yeah, absolutely.
A+ offseason.
Absolutely. And again, remember, Akeem is they're probably gonna slate him for 40% of the snaps, if that. And just, play him at the most critical junctures. And he's a better pass rusher than Suh is at this point too. He can run, when healthy, he can run, he can do what he needs to do.
Yeah. And having that position now, you have a nice little 3-man rotation, I think, with those 2. And then obviously Logan Hall, who I don't know how many snaps he's going to see, but it's good he doesn't have to play, 70, 75%.
Right.
And that means the Bucs don't have to play, Nacho more than they want, because I think Nacho played a lot last year, kind of spelling Vita Vea.
Yeah.
And again, no offense to Nacho, but there was a difference when he was in there. And
Absolutely.
Vita.
Absolutely.
So this definitely helps a lot.
It's all part of the rotation. It's part of the picture. And another big body who, look, when you're an offensive lineman, when that guy comes in the game, it doesn't matter what his injury history is. If he's ready to go and he can play, he's going to be a problem. And to find somebody at this point of the calendar year that can be that big of an impact is a big deal. So, yes, kudos to Jason Light once again. And then quickly before we hit Scott Reynolds, the Rays deserve about 30 seconds today because that's about as exciting as that game was last night. 3 hits. Wander Franco goes on the IL. Looks like he's going to be out at least 2 weeks. They have an MRI on his quad. It's not good. And I loved those numbers that you pointed out, because this is the elephant in the room. And although Topkin mentioned it last week when Franco told him that the trop is an issue for him, playing at the trop is hurting his legs. It's the reason he thinks that he's had these injuries, or part of the reason anyway. It wasn't mentioned in today's column about the injury, but can you want to give us those home and away numbers, or would you like me to?
You got him there.
220. He's hitting 220 with 15 strikeouts at the trop. Wander Franco on the road, 338 with 5 strikeouts. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. Your home stadium, once again, it's Willy Adames all over again. And if your superstar that you're paying all this money cannot play, or play very poorly at home where he plays half his games, that's going to be a tremendous issue for the Rays. It's the elephant in the room nobody's talking about. But I think that they got to do something. They got to do something about that field. This can't be just status quo when your superstar can't play on it. You might say, well, other players can and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. He's the guy. He's the guy. It's like Brady. It's all about 12. It's all about 5 when it comes to the Rays. All right, quick break. When we come back, Scott Reynolds is going to join us from the Pewter Report, and we'll talk a little bit more about this Akeem Hicks signing and where the Bucs defense looks with these veteran additions. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk some football with our good friend Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report, who joins us now. What's up, Scotty? How are you, my friend?
Great. Getting ready for tonight's Bolts game, so it should be fun. This is a fun time with Bucks OTAs, mini camp on deck, and then we've got the Lightning tonight.
Where are you watching it tonight? The man cave, the Reynolds man cave right there?
Any place that's serving alcohol. No. So maybe the home, maybe out. We'll see.
I don't think it's going to be quite what we saw last night in the Western Conference, the track meet out there.
Oh my gosh,
it was fun.
Yeah,
but
well, I mean, with Vasilevsky, let's hope not, right? I mean, that's
it's just starting too. Yeah, we may not see 14 goals this whole series.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But the old rust versus rest. I think the Lightning certainly have the experience to handle this. They know the intensity level, but it is a timing thing. I mean, when you've been off for 9 days, typically we saw this in the regular season too. They come back, they look a little slow, look a little rusty. So I don't expect a lot out of the first period.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to take maybe a period or two to get into it. I think if the Bolts win, it's going to be winning this game in the third period, right? It's going to be maybe a comeback win type situation. Or if they lose, I'm not concerned because there very well could be some rust happening. And at the same time, I've got full confidence in these guys with their experience. We've seen them come back from deficits and win and bounce back on the road after a loss. So, go Bolts.
Keem Hicks story. We all been waiting for a signing of Ndamukong Suh, but little did we know that they've been cooking up something else and watching a lot of tape on Keem Hicks. Yeah. And the injury history is very concerning. Obviously, when you past 30 years old as a defensive lineman, you don't get younger, you don't get faster, you don't get less injured. What's your take on this signing?
I think the biggest thing is he's coming in really not to fill Ndamukong Suh's role, because Logan Hall is going to fill that role. Logan Hall is the younger, more athletic, faster version, granted less experience, version of Ndamukong Suh. I think this is a huge upgrade over Steve McClendon. And McClendon was that rotational backup, run stuffing guy that gave the Bucks some good minutes. But I think Keem Hicks is going to play more than McClendon, and I think him being a part-time player probably takes some of the pressure off, probably takes some of the snaps off. And as you get older, less snaps can be a good thing, right? Unless you are Ndamukong Suh, who's an Iron Man. So looking at this rotation now with Vita Vea and Raheem Nunez-Roches at nose tackle, you've got Will Golston and Logan Hall, who will start at the defensive tackle, defensive end positions. And then you've got Akeem Hicks, who comes in as that rotational player. They can play that 3 technique that Sue played, that Logan Hall will play. And he can also play that 3-eye, 4-eye defensive end role that Will Golston can play, because he's got experience at both of those spots, having been in Chicago's 3-4 scheme at 6'4", 335 pounds. This is a big man.
Big man.
And he's very agile. He's got a better pass rush grade than Ndamukong Suh when healthy. And I think that this team will do everything they can to ensure he's healthy by just making him a rotational player. And his experience is only going to help a young player like Logan Hall.
So you think Logan Hall will be the starter and get the majority of the snaps? I was thinking that wouldn't be the case. They'd bring him along slow.
No, they're throwing this kid in. And Warren Sapp was at practice yesterday. Todd Bowles invited him to the OTA to work with Hall and the young defensive lineman. And so I called Sapp after practice. I said, "Hey, Warren, what did you think of this kid?" And I think he quoted, remember the Titans. This kid is hostile. What's the term? Agile, mobile, and hostile, right?
Yeah.
And that's what he said. He said this kid's athleticism is phenomenal. And we had Will Golston on our podcast last Thursday. And I mean, Will's a great quote. That's why I had him on, because he's a go-to guy in the locker room when you're looking for support quotes about other players. Will typically is not one to get out a bunch of hyperbole, but he said that Logan Hall is more athletic than J.J. Watt in his prime. And
okay, wow,
that's some lofty praise, right? I don't know that I can agree with Will on that one, but Will certainly, by being next to him, watching the kid up close go through these drills, and you saw the results at the combine. I mean, Logan Hall is a tremendously athletic guy. So for Sapp to come in as an outsider who is not a teammate, is not Jason Light or Todd Bowles, who they're going to praise the kid because they drafted him, right? There's a bias, there's an investment in him. So Sapp comes in as an outsider, and Warren, you've covered him as long as I have. He will shoot you straight. He doesn't think Vita Vea is that good of a tackle, but he certainly loved what he saw from Logan Hall. He loves the fact that he's athletic, and he loves the fact this kid is a dog too. He's got some nasty to his game, whereas Warren worked with Gerald McCoy and had a good relationship with him, but he told me yesterday on the phone what we all know: Gerald's just too nice.
He's too nice of a guy. Yeah. I look, those guys know a hell of a lot more than I do, but I'm sure they also qualify by saying this is, they're not in pads. So you love to see the athleticism, and that's great when you're not wearing pads and you're not getting your face knocked in by these 340-pound guards that you're going to be going against. It's a different deal. So, but we can lean on our tape study from college, even though those offensive linemen aren't certain, and certainly in the conference that he played, not elite,
not the SEC, right?
Elite. So I still, obviously we've got a long way to go, but having a guy like Akeem Hicks around and these other guys, these experienced guys, is going to help him tremendously. And I think that's
really is
the other part out. You have to look, and when you see these signings, and you mentioned this, you don't really look at it as a specific piece, right? You look at it as a rotation. How does the rotation come together? What roles are all these guys going to play in different situations? Because football obviously is very situational,
right?
And now you've added another guy where if there's some team that wants to, you go up against the Titans or whomever and wants to run it down your throat, and you put Vita Vea and Akeem Hicks in there, well, that's over. That's over. That's over. Good luck. Yeah. So it gives you another arrow in the quiver, right?
Yeah, it does. And I think in his rookie year, what they're hoping to get from Logan Hall, right? I mean, they would love for the kid to be the defensive player of the year, right? The defensive rookie of the year, right? They would love for that to happen. A Pro Bowler out of the gate. That's probably not going to happen. Warren Sapp, as great as he was, had 3 sacks during his rookie season, right? Santana Dotson, by the way, back in 1992, still has the record for the most sacks by a rookie, which was 10.
Yeah.
And at the same time, while sacks are great, it's a great measurement tool. That's 10 plays out of maybe 500 snaps that you're going to play.
Yeah.
So, sacks can be dynamic. They can be important. They can also be inconsequential, right? If you get a sack on first down and the offense ends up converting on second or third down and moving the chains, that sack's a nice stat, but it didn't mean much. But I think where this kid, if the athleticism and the speed can negate his lack of experience, right? Because Ndamukong Suh had plenty of experience, not just in the league, but in this Todd Bowles defense. And Suh was productive. He had 6 sacks last year, but his age showed, especially in the run game at the end of the season when teams were starting to run laterally on the Buccaneers and attack them on the flanks rather than, hey, let's not run into Pro Bowl nose tackle Vita Vea, right? Let's try to avoid him. And that's really where the weakness of Suh showed up. So I think that if the Buccaneers are looking at this and saying, Logan Hall, his athleticism and speed are going to negate what Suh, or I should say, make it even, right? What Suh brought in experience. If we can get even play in year 1 from this kid, that's a win because the upside is there for year 2, year 3, et cetera, et cetera. Then you have Akeem Hicks coming in as a way better version of 36-year-old Steve McClendon.
Yeah.
So if Hall can be even with Sue and Hicks really bolsters your rotation and is a better player than McClendon, which he is, there's no question, then you've upgraded your defensive line, right?
Right. Now, Scott Reynolds joining us here from the Peter Report. I did see some fans out there lamenting the contract, and we don't know all the details here for Akeem Hicks and saying,
I've got some contract details for you if you want.
Well, there you go. And people are like, well, how are we going to afford Gronk?
Yeah,
we're going to afford Gronk. If Gronk wants to come back, we're going to find a way. So just to tell the fans, don't worry about that. This is not going to preclude.
Don't worry about that. Yeah, I think you're going to be looking at a cap hit this year of around $3 million maybe for Hicks.
That's great.
Mike Greenberg's going to work his cap magic, and they haven't signed the contract yet, so I can't give away like exact details because they're still finalizing some things. But what I can tell you is that the base for this deal is like maybe around 6.5, and then it's loaded with incentives, right? And and whenever you see one of Drew Rosenhaus's clients get signed, they always to the media put out the maximum value.
Right,
you hit every single incentive. You win the Super Bowl, you get All Pro. You make the Pro Bowl, you get the playoff wins. You don't miss a game. You get your per game roster bonus money. Yeah, it can max out around $10 million, but that's not what this is. So I think some fans, and that's why we put in the headline of our story, this can be worth up to $10 million, because when they see $10 million, they think, oh my God, they're paying him more than Ndamukong Suh. No, they're actually not. Suh got $9 million at each of the last 2 years, and he earned every penny of that because that was the contract. We're paying you $9 million. There's no bonuses, there's no incentives. It's just what you're getting walking in the door. Yeah. And with this, I think that number is going to be around 6 or 6.5. So it's actually less than what they paid Suh. And yes, they'll still have plenty of cap money to get Rob Gronkowski in the fold.
And your quarterback is, I saw the video this morning of him bouncing the golf ball. He's making all these videos. He's at the WNBA game last night. The match is coming up tonight. He's not at OTAs. Guy's a bum. He's a bum. I mean, where's the commitment? Where's
right. Well, he knows this offense. And I think if you look just at box score statistically speaking, I mean, he mastered this offense, right? I mean, he led the league in pass attempts, passing yards, passing touchdowns at age 44. So, I'm not concerned about Tom Brady. It's not like he has a bunch of new guys to throw to. I mean, okay, Russell Gage is a new guy to throw to. He hasn't even been practicing at OTAs because he's been injured a little bit. So he'll be fine, I think, maybe for the mandatory minute camp or certainly by training camp. But it's not like Russell Gage is even on the field catching passes from Kyle Trask and Blaine Gabbert. So this is part of it. When Tom Brady comes out of retirement, he says, I want to be able to live my life this offseason. I've been here for 2 years. I've got the offense down. I've given you a Super Bowl in year 1, the best record with 13 wins in year 2. I know this offense. I know this wide receiving core, this tight end group.
Yeah,
we're going to be okay. I just need to live my life a little bit, and I'll come back and play football for you.
Exactly.
And it's the same way with Gronk. Same way with Gronk.
Yeah. If you want these guys to play in the months that count, let them play in the months that don't. Just don't worry about it.
Well said, JP.
And so will Giselle. Maybe even more importantly, she'll be happy, which is
exactly
really. And I love all these stories on ESPN. Oh, the Bucs won't have Tom Brady after this year. Who gives a crap? We got the best freaking regular season schedule in the history of the Buccaneers.
Yes.
I mean, nobody cares about next year.
And honestly, next year, I think we've talked about it before. Next year's schedule, I mean, granted, things can change, right? Like nobody saw the Bengals in the Super Bowl. There's always a couple surprise teams that come out of nowhere to be Super Bowl contenders. And then there's always a couple teams that you're expecting to be great that really fall back down to earth and aren't great, right? So that being said, next year's schedule is demonstrably easier than than this year. I mean, unless the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars and teams like that just all of a sudden become juggernauts, which I don't think is going to happen. It will be remarkably easier. Let's just say more manageable, because there's no easy wins in the NFL.
You mentioned Kyle Trask.
The Chicago Bears in 2020 and the Washington football team in 2021 proved that.
Yeah. You mentioned Kyle Trask. He spoke with the media the other day. At this point, he's just not, part of the formula, but obviously things can change rather quickly in the NFL. But we're hearing some positive things. I heard Todd Bowles talk about him, and they're putting him in some competitive situations. He's making the right reads. That's all you can really expect right now. But this is an important time for him, these OTAs and preseason.
Really, because last year, the last time we saw him was against the Houston Texans, and he had a really good game in that preseason game, right? I mean, no interceptions, no turnovers. I think threw a touchdown pass or two, high completion percentage. Looked awful in the first two preseason games, then looked like a legitimate NFL quarterback in the third one. And then last year, he either didn't take any reps in practice, or the reps that he did take were on those days late in the season when Tom Brady took I need to rest my arm day because I'm 44, and took Wednesday off. Then Blaine Gabbert was the starter. Ryan Griffin was the backup. And then you had Kyle Trask as the scout team quarterback, because that's typically Ryan Griffin's role. So then Trask got to throw the ball in practice rather than individual drills. He actually got to do some 11-on-11 work. The problem, JP, though, is he was running the cards. He was running the other team's offense, not Tampa Bay's offense. So sometimes, listen, a slant's a slant, a deep out's a deep out. Like, that all makes sense. But he's operating Byron Leftwich's offense right now, and he's been doing so for 3 weeks. What I would like to see happen in next week's minicamp, because Brady's going to be there. It's mandatory. Brady's going to want to get his reps, to get his timing down, and to feel good heading into training camp. That's fine. The GOAT's going to get the majority of the reps and all that. That's fine. At this stage of the game, you've already come out and you've said, Blaine Gabbert's your number 2. That's fine. Blaine's been in this offense for 5 years.
Yeah.
You don't need
the reps.
We don't need to see Blaine next week. Just like Ryan Griffin has not thrown a single pass outside of individuals in the OTAs. It's been Gabbert with the starters and then Trask with the number 2s. They've split the reps just about 50-50, which is great. Next week, and listen, I'm the conductor of the Blaine train. You know that. But it's time to it's time to pull Blaine into the shop, park him, and then let Trask and Brady kind of do that 1-2 punch thing for the next 3 days next week. And then, and then same thing. I'd like to see, Brady get his starter reps in the preseason and play Blaine sparingly in the preseason, and then give half the reps. If you could carve it up like a pie, right? 25% for Brady, 25% for Blaine, and then, 50% for Gabbert. I'm not Gabbert, Trask, and let him really develop and show what he can do.
All right. Before I ask you about some other teams and players, any other insights that you've gathered from yesterday's OTAs or the OTAs you've had so far?
I think that what we're seeing is, and Clyde Christensen really did a good job of kind of forecasting this, the Bucs quarterbacks coach, because we asked him, all right, what's going to be different under Todd Bowles? Everybody wants to know, how's this training camp going to be different? And we're already seeing it a little bit. We're seeing more competitive periods. We're seeing more ones versus ones. And I think even Bowles alluded to that in training camp, we're going to see a lot more good on good. And it just amps the competition level up, right? It's like when Tom Brady is throwing passes to Mike Evans and Evans is covered by Zion McCollum, guess who's going to win that?
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, exactly.
But when it's Mike Evans versus Carlton Davis, it's not always a gimme, right? So
No.
I think that's what he's looking at. And it's one thing for Carlton Davis, who needs more interceptions, and another thing for Jamel Dean, who needs more interceptions. Jamel even said that he's in a contract year, entering a contract year. He only has 5 career picks in 3 seasons. He only had, I think, 1 last year. He needs to be more of a ball hawk.
Yeah.
And you become more of a ball hawk, not by picking off the Kyle Trasks and the Blaine Gabberts, but by picking off the Tom Brady's in practices. They count more because Brady's closer to what you're going to see on Sunday than Ryan Griffin, Kyle Trask, and Blaine Gabbert. And I think that's That's what I think that's what Bowles' defense and secondary needs is to have these guys get confidence by picking off Tom Brady in practice, the starters, rather than have just the backups in there and, Brady's slinging the ball against the Ross Cockrells of the world.
Yeah, the downside is you do risk more injury in practice, but that's these are the big decisions that coaches make. If they feel that you need to be better in some areas, that's the only way to get better is good on good. The guy I wanted to ask you about, because I thought it was a very interesting conversation Aaron Donald had. He's now being represented by Kanye's group. And he talked about a lot of opportunities outside football to make money and do things. Obviously he's in LA and his production company, et cetera, et cetera. We've seen how much money LeBron has made in that venture. So the question is, Aaron Donald wants, $30 million a year. I don't know if the Rams have that in the salary cap offing.
Right.
And this obviously affects the Bucs in a big way, because I just don't think the Rams are the Rams without Aaron Donald.
Correct.
As good as they are, they're just not.
Yeah.
And especially when they've lost Von Miller as well. So do you think Donald is coming back? And if he does not, the Bucs are already the favorite in the NFC. I think a lot of odds makers think he's not coming back, and his rhetoric would suggest that he's done. But again, could just be a negotiating ploy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Three things. Initially, I think he comes back just because that's who Aaron Donald is. He's a football player. I think he comes back. If he doesn't, it certainly helps the Buccaneers. There's no doubt. Yeah, it helps every team in the NFC West and every team on the Rams schedule. Right, he's the best defensive tackle in football right now, and one of the greatest of all times. But I think too, what you're going to see in social media has really altered the game in terms of helping people build their brand. I remember having a conversation with Warren Sapp back in 1997, and we talked about putting him on the cover. And he's like, "Hey, when you put me on the cover of Buccaneer magazine, send it out to the media so I can get in the Pro Bowl," right? Because the players needed the media to build their case, to hype them up, to give them the accolades, because that's where the recognition came from. With social media now, listen, we've got close to 50,000 followers. There are some Buccaneer players that have 2, 3, 4, 5 times the amount of followers we do on social media. And that's to be expected, because we're a media outlet. They're superstars.
Right.
And so now these players with their followings, I'm not saying they don't need the media, but fans can follow the players directly, and they can hear directly from the player, and they can kind of essentially cut the media out. And so it just gives them the platform, the audience, to build their brand even more. And listen, Tom Brady is at the apex of that with the Brady brand. Right? He's capitalizing on his popularity and his social media reach, et cetera. And so I think what you're going to be seeing, JP, is more players, once they've reached an Aaron Donald level, pull an Ali Marpet and say, "Hey, I'm under 30. I've made my millions. I got my ring. I got my accolades. I've got all these social media followers. I've built my following. I'm a lock for Canton. What do I need to prove? How many more concussions do I need to get? How much more CET risk do I have to take?"
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see more players doing an Ali Marpet. I'm not saying Aaron Donald's going to do it, but the fact that he's teasing that he could, you just wouldn't hear that from players in the years past. But social media, I think, it is allowing people to build their brand. And now, JP, you're seeing these NIL monies.
Yeah.
It's only building kids brands in high school now.
Power to the players.
Yeah, they're having all these followers. Then they go to college and play for a couple of years with their NIL money and their first and second round picks. You're going to have kids coming into the NFL with millions of followers.
Yeah.
Before they've even done a thing. They were just a high school star, a college star. They're already rich from NIL money. And as a result, you're going to see players, once they reach some level of success. And again, remember, Ali Marpet, 1 Pro Bowl, 1 Super Bowl, I'm done.
Yep.
And he retired at the top of his game. It's going to be fascinating to watch. These next 10 years, 12 years, it's going to be fascinating to watch. And that's why the Buccaneers put so much emphasis on, do you love football?
Yeah.
How much do you love the game?
Yeah.
Right. And trust me, there were some guys I know just from talking to some sources at $1 that they passed on because these guys were about their brand, not about the game.
Yep. I totally understand.
When was the last contract holdout you've seen in Tampa?
Well, yeah, contracts are pretty much slotted in anyway. That ended a lot of it, especially.
Well, I'm not saying rookies. I'm just saying like holdouts, right?
Yeah. The Bucks have not had any of these issues. There are all these other teams are having.
Even the guys they franchise, Shaq
Yeah.
Barrett, Chris Godwin. There's no holdouts. It's I'm going to sign my tender and we'll negotiate a deal and I'll play in my franchise tag and
it's part of the culture, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, Scotty, great stuff as always. Tell the folks how they can get all the great content from Pewter Report.
Well, you can visit us at pewterreport.com for all of our Bucks OTAs coverage. We still have some stories coming out. Kyle Trask, Jamel Dean stories on the website. And we've got our podcast today at 4 o'clock on YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. We do podcasts Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 4 o'clock in the off season. And then we've got a different schedule during the regular season, including our game day coverage. So that's Pewter Report TV on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to that. It's free. And last but not least, you can find us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report.
It's all there for you. Thanks, Scotty. Appreciate it. Enjoy the game tonight.
Always a pleasure. Go Bolts.
Go Bolts. All right, quick break. And speaking of the Bolts, we will have Brian Bradley on next. He'll be traveling up to New York with the Lightning official party, but he's going to join us next, and we'll talk about the matchup with the Rangers. Stay with us. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.
Right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com and by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Make an appointment, get a new primary care physician. You will thank me. Tell them JP sent you. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Brian Bradley, Lightning's first All-Star and leading scorer back in the day, and now he's just an analyst and gets to travel to all the games with all the big wigs. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Not too bad, JP. Doing really well. Yeah, I'm a traveling with all the big wigs. I'm just a small wig.
You're the most fun. That's why they pick you. So Madison Square Garden tonight, the Eastern Conference Finals, replay of the 2015. I mean, this is big time stuff, and I can't wait for this game tonight. The big question is, will there be rust, or will the rest be great for the Lightning? What do you think?
I think there'll be a little bit of rust in the first period or so.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely, JP. I mean, the Rangers coming off of a 6-2 win over Carolina, which to me was still is an upset. I mean, you can't say the Rangers were favored in that series.
No.
But at the end of the day, we'll talk about it more. But I still say there will be a little bit of rust. But we're a veteran team. You know what I mean? For guys, we were shot blocking to beat Florida 4 straight. Really tough series against Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, 7 games. That was a grind. That was whoever won that one could keep going. So at the end of the day, I think the rest was important. We're a veteran team, 2-time defending Stanley Cup champs, going for 3 times. So, I mean, I think rest was very important, and it's going to show later in the series. Trust me. You're going to see maybe not game 1 and 2, but by game 3, 4, and 5, the Rangers are going to wear right down. They are going to be in trouble. Trust me. And we'll be just flying at that point.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is it, that might hurt us in game 1, the first period and a half, but in the long run, when you got a team that's been playing that much hockey, it could wear them down. And I saw this stat. Let me tell you. Let me ask you what you think of this. So, even strength, high danger chances. All right, in the first 2 series for the Rangers, the Hurricanes outchanced them even strength 101-69. The Penguins outchanced them 122-59 in high danger chances. I mean, that's a huge disparity, is it not? It suggests that the Rangers are really, really winning with Shesterkin, which is, the Lightning do that too, but not to that level of 5-on-5. To me, that says, hey, stay out of the box, keep that Rangers power play on the bench, and the Lightning got a great chance to win this series. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, no question about it. I mean, let's be honest with you. I mean, you got to give the Rangers credit. I mean, they, their power plays. We talk about it all the time. JP, goaltending. Rangers got a good goalie. Shesterkin's a good goalie.
Yep.
Let's not say he's not, but he's not Vasilevsky. Specialty teams. The Rangers' specialty teams are outstanding. I mean, they've just been firing their power plays at 32% and their penalty killings at 80%. Which is really good.
Yeah.
You find those 2 to 100%, but they're like 112% right now, which is crazy. 32% on the power play is outstanding. But, I will say this, the Lightning penalty kills at 88%, which is unbelievable. I mean, the power plays at 23, it's good. It can be better.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the Rangers specialty teams are good, and in injuries, we talk about this all the time. We have some injuries to point, but they don't. So they've got a lot of good things going. But at the end of the day, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. The Rangers haven't really played a goalie like Vasilevsky.
Right.
I mean, they played in the first round. The Pittsburgh goalie got hurt. Can't think of his name off the top. Then they bring in Louis Domingue, a third-string goalie.
Yep.
I mean, nothing against Louis Domingue, but he's not Vasilevsky. He's not even a number 1 goalie. They had the other goalie, Yari was hurt. Then they go into the next round here against Carolina. They'll go 7 games. They had a lot of scoring chances. So just imagine, they play against Ruda or, Ranta.
Ranta,
the goalie for Carolina. Yeah, and he gets hurt in game 7, and then they have to bring the backup goalie in. And, the kid wasn't ready to play.
Yeah,
so you know what? I'll tell you this. you can only say what you think. Carolina would have had the Anderson, number one goalie from Toronto. They would have never lost to the Rangers. No way. No way. There's just a different goalie, better team, more confidence. And that's what the Rangers are going to see. Just imagine if we have that many chances, you know, and they're not going to get as many chances as you know, like if they only have 50 or 60 high quality chances against Vazzy to our 100, I mean, the chances of us winning are really good at that point, because Vazzy's not going to let in many goals like these other goalies that were second and third string goalies. You know, you're seeing you know, look at the game last night, 8-6. It was ridiculous.
That
you know
was
what?
sick.
If you score 6 goals in the playoffs and you don't win, something's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy goaltending. You know, Colorado's number one goalie got hurt, Kemper. You know, but at the end of the day, you know what? Everybody's been talking about, we got Shesterkin, and the Ranger goalie, who's totally great. Never seen him really play live. But you know, he's going against the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champ, Vazzy, Conn Smythe winner. And at the end of the day, I've got money on Vazzy. So I still think the Lightning are going to win in 6. The Rangers are like maybe what we were in 2015. They're a good young team. You know, they got some players. They made some great additions. Andrew Kopp came in. You know, Adam Fox has got 18 points. Zibanejad's got 19 points. But, you know, like I said, they just don't have playoff experience. And you know what? They're playing a team that, you know, has won 2 Stanley Cups. They've got depth. They've got experience, you know, and they know what it takes to win. That's the key. The Rangers are kind of like playing, and they've got some lucky, fortunate breaks playing some teams with no goalies.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens tonight. You know, we're playing against our you know, Gaudreau's playing against us. You know, he won 2 Stanley Cups here in Tampa. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. And anytime you play in New York at Madison Square Garden, oh, my God, what a great place to play. I mean, the crowd, the streets, the place is going to be electric. And you know what? It's going to be fun to watch. And the boys will be excited. And you know what? I will say this. The crowd is not going to have any factor on the Tampa Bay Lightning, because they've been there. Right. They played in New York Islanders last year. They played in Carolina. They played in Toronto this year. The crowds are wild in all those places. So that's not a factor for these guys. They're Stanley Cup champs. They've got a dynasty. They can win 3 in a row. They don't care about all those little things that are going on in the background. They're just going on the ice and doing their job.
Yeah, and speaking of that goalie matchup, I wanted to get your perspective on this. Like, when you were playing, what is like the equivalent to like what we're going to see with these 2 goaltenders in net? What is the equivalent of that?
Well, you know, to me, the equivalent would be, I mean, I still think the 3 Vazzy's going to go down as one of the top 4 or 5 goalies to ever play the game. But to me, the equivalent would be Patrick Waugh playing Marty Brodeur. Yes. Or Patrick Waugh playing Dominic Hasek.
Yeah.
Or Marty Brodeur playing one of those combinations. I mean, this is the best goalie matchup we've seen in years in the playoffs. You've got Vasilevsky against Shesterkin. I mean, you got 2 high quality goalies. The difference is Vazzy's won. He's been there in 2015 where he lost to the Chicago Blackhawks. Ben Bishop got hurt. He comes in, and then the rest is history. Vazzy just grows from a young guy to a mature, confident. Shesterkin hasn't won anything yet.
Yep.
I mean, you know, all those other guys have won stuff. You know, Hasek, Brodeur, Waugh. I mean, but it is going to be a key matchup. I mean, you know what? It's the 2 best goalies in the Stanley Cup playoffs right now. Nothing against the Western Conference, but I mean, Mike Smith looked awful last night in goal for the Edmonton Oilers, and you know what? Then Kemper got hurt, and they brought in the backup goalie for Colorado. You know what? But these goalies here are a lot better than the Western Conference goalies, no question about it. So, I mean, this is a great matchup in net. I mean, they've got some great players up front. You know, I mean, you know, you're talking about, you know, I like, you know, Panarin's played okay, but, you know, Fox, the defenseman's got 18 points in 14 games. I mean, he's one of those guys that goes under the radar. You don't notice much about him, and he just does his job and puts points on the board. And at the end of the day, you know, won the Norris Trophy for best defenseman last year. So, I mean, he's a good player, a great player, and he's young in his career. So, I mean, still rather have Victor Hedman because he's the complete package everywhere, offensive, defensive. But, you know, Chris Kreider's, you know, he's had a great playoff. He's got 8 goals, I think. But, you know, when you look at the Lightning, I mean, when I'm looking at the Lightning stats, guys, I was looking at it. You know, guess who our leading goal scorers are right now? Corey Perry and Ross Colton, with 5 goals.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. I didn't even think about that. I was looking at going, wow, they're leading their team with 5 goals. You know, obviously Kucherov's got 15 points and Stamkos has got 8. And, you know, Edmund's got 10. We all know that. But at the end of the day, hopefully we'll get point back sometime this series. I'm hearing potentially maybe the home games. I don't really know much of when he'll be back. But, yeah, I'm hearing rumors. He might be back for game 3 or 4.
Wow.
You know, but you know, that's all I've heard. But we'll see what happens. But he's definitely out games 1 and 2. I heard New York, so we'll see.
Interesting. Because I was not very optimistic because he hasn't skated yet, has he at all?
Yeah, I don't think he has much. If he's doing it, he's doing it privately. Where no one's in the arena.
Okay.
So, but you know what? I'm just hearing some rumors. But at the end of the day, I think he'll be back this series. I really do. I said against Florida he was not coming back. So, you know, I think he's got, you know, it's a 2 or 3 week injury. So, you know, if he gets another week to rest, I mean, it'll probably be at 3 weeks by the time that we move forward.
That would be huge.
Yeah,
we can get him back.
You just mentioned Ross Colton and Corey Perry of those depth players who are leading the Lightning in goals right now. I don't know if he's going to play tonight or whenever. Brandon Hagel, though, I feel like he's getting really close to scoring. He's been in all the high danger situations. You think this kind of is, if he plays, if this is his series to kind of be the Ross Colton or Corey Perry?
Oh yeah. You know what? I think he's playing. You know what? I know he's got a cracked foot or something like that, but they can freeze that up. And he never missed a game just because he's not practicing as much. They're doing treatment on it, so he'll be ready to go. I'm not going to say 100, but I'm probably 99% sure Brendan Hagel's playing tonight. I mean, that line was great. I mean, you know what? When you talk about, putting, Nick Paul and Hagel and Ross Colton together, they've been dynamic, even in the series against Toronto. So, you know what? I'll be shocked if he's not in the lineup. I mean, you know what? We've had 9 days off now for him to get better. So it might not be 100%. But it's better than going to game 7 and playing the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, no question.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, remember they played last Monday. So he's been off. Today's Wednesday. He's had 9 full days off.
Yeah.
I mean, so, they've had a lot of work done on it. I mean, he would be probably hurting if we won on Monday and we had to play the Rangers in New York Wednesday. And he had 0 time to rest after, with a cracked foot or whatever. That's a tough situation. But to have 9 days off with an injury like that, it's definitely going to calm down. And he's skated yesterday. I saw him on the ice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he looked good. He didn't skate full bore with the team, but came in at the end, and he's playing 100%.
Right.
There's no question to my mind. He's not. The only guy that's not going is Point.
Yeah,
that's for sure. But we all knew that. But I'm hearing rumors that he's going to be back potentially for game 3, maybe game 4.
Nice.
But, hey, that's huge. So we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, look what we did without Point. We beat the Panthers, the President's Trophy champions, 4 games. And that's incredible. People still talk about that on the TV right now. How did the Lightning do that? But we played great. Razzie was amazing in goal.
3 goals in 4 games.
We kind of hit the gear. We were not playing good going into the playoffs. And the first game or 2 against Toronto, I was like, wow, we better wake up. This could be over in 5 or 6. And then all of a sudden, we got better and better. In game 7, 6, and 7, we just turned it up to a different level. That we turned it up to how we win Stanley Cups. That's exactly how we play. Great defensive hockey. Didn't make many mistakes. No stupid penalties. And you know what? Everybody bought in and blocking shots and doing what it takes to win. And that's why these guys they're favored to win right now.
Yeah.
When you talk about this series, we're favored to beat New York. No question about it. There's no way you can not take the defending Stanley Cup champion with Vasilevsky in net. And they won 10 series in a row, which I think is an NHL record.
Well, it's the best in a long, long time since I think the Islanders. It's incredible what they've been able to do. They haven't lost a game in 2 weeks. I mean, they've won 6 straight games now in the playoffs. The last one they lost was game 5 against Toronto. So they've locked it down pretty good without Braden Point for the most part. So it's been amazing.
Yeah.
And Brad, before we go, as a skilled offensive scorer yourself for many years in the league, when you're playing a goalie as hot as Shesterkin, does it change your mindset at all at the way you shoot, what you do, how you play it? Do you try to make the extra pass to get the open net and get him out of position, or do you try to just get dirty goals in front of him and getting his eyesight? What's your strategy?
Well, you know what? I mean, I think you just got to play your game, and you got to get shots on the net. You got to sometimes, even point shots are tipped in, shooting for sticks in front of the net.
Yep.
And you know what? Just make sure you get your shot on goal. I mean, when you played against Patrick Waugh, Dominic Hasek, Marty Brodeur, those guys were amazing. I mean, unbelievable. You used to watch them in practice and just be like, when I played against those guys and watch them play, you couldn't even score in practice against them. But you just have to get into the tough areas and you know what? When there's rebounds in front, you got to go bang it for that puck.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing going to be easy. There's no easy goals. Like when you play against Vasilevsky, he doesn't give many rebounds, but when he does, you got to be there to maybe tap it in. And you know what? Get shots on goal, and maybe you get lucky once in a while. But at the end of the day, it is. Let me tell you, it's not going to be like the West last night. The game's not going to be 8-6. I can tell you that.
No, was that crazy or what?
I mean, I want to play those goalies over there with that in that. So, my God,
it seems like.
But at the end of the day,
yeah.
And like I said, it's it'll be fun to see. You know what? The guys got to get shots. I mean, the difference between me is I think Shesterkin's a smaller goalie. He's very athletic, moves around, but he gives up a lot of the top of the net. I think we got to shoot in the top corner. We got to make him go down in his butterfly and rip it right over his shoulder. But the difference between him and Vazzy is a big difference. Vazzy's a big goalie, like a big goalie. When he goes down, it's tough to get the puck over his shoulder because he covers so much of the net.
Right.
Shesterkin's smaller, and when you get a smaller goalie, maybe you fake the shot and move left or right, get him out of position, and maybe slide a pass backwards, and he can't get back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, a smaller goalie got to make move. Make a move more than you think.
Well, let's just hope the Lightning can stay out of the box tonight. Keep it 5-on-5. Well, I think they'll have the advantage. And this is, and like you mentioned in the beginning, I've never even been to Madison Square Garden. I've covered a lot of different and great venues, but that's one I've not been to. You've played there, and it's just, as an opponent, it just gives you a special kind of feel and buzz, does it not? You can feed off that energy as an opponent, correct?
Oh yeah, it'll be just wild tonight for the opening ceremony or for the opening game tonight. It'll be just crazy, you know what I mean? The crowd. I mean, the guys on our team will be excited because they're ready to play game one, and you know what, they know what they need to do. But they'll be excited because just the visiting team will be excited with everything going on, and the home team. As a home crowd for them, it'll just be buzzing. I mean, downtown New York tonight will be just electric, because. I mean, they're just going to be excited for the Rangers and itself. And there's really no other teams playing right now in New York. The Yankees are playing baseball or the Mets, but they're only just starting their season. So it's not really the same.
The Rangers,
you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, this is huge. So it's going to be a great crowd. The guys will be excited. Game one, and I say the Lightning win in 6. I mean, I really do. I didn't think we'd beat the Panthers in 4, but I really just don't think the Rangers can hold up to us. As the series goes on, the young kids will wear down. They played a 7-game series. And then, you know what, they've been grinding, even against Pittsburgh, they went the distance. So, I mean, I just can't see with the Lightning having a little more rest that they're going to be ready to go. And then you're going to see in games 3, 4, 5, 6, it's going to definitely change over where the Rangers are just they're going to wear down.
Yeah.
They're going to be dead.
I love it. Hey, I forgot to ask you, how about Marty? Marty gets a 3-year deal to coach the Canadiens. Marty St. Louis. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I heard he just signed a 3-year deal to coach the Montreal Canadiens, Marty St. Louis. Yeah. Great guy. Great player here in Tampa. Hall of Famer. Love Marty St. Louis. Congratulations to him.
Yeah. All right, Brad. Have fun, man. Enjoy your trip. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Yeah. Sounds good, guys. Have a great day. Go Bolts.
Go Bolts. All right. That gets me jacked up. I love the energy Bradley brings. It's so much. It's going to be fun. It's going to be so fun to watch tonight. Not as, up and down as maybe the the series we saw last night, but it's our Lightning. It's Eastern Conference Final, special time.
Yeah, I'm still very excited. And I didn't know this until today. We have a watch party inside Amalie tonight. From what I saw,
$10 tickets.
$10
Go to
tickets.
Lightning Foundation.
Still some available, so it should be a packed house in there tonight, which I love when they put it in there because for me, it's just too hot outside.
Yeah,
so
it's just like a
inside.
game. It's just got all the accoutrement of a game. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I might mosey on over there tonight. I still haven't figured out my watching plans yet. I've got a couple of guys that want to watch the game, so we'll see. We might go to another watering hole. We'll see.
Brad's got to have the best job in the world right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets to just
community liaison,
and he's just jet setting to Toronto. I guess to Sunrise if that really like that, and then now to New York, and he's just going, like literally for the game, and then you come right back and then back up.
Well, they'll be there for the first two games.
Games,
so he'll join us from the morning skate on Friday from the Garden. This is such a fun time of year to watch. I remember when the Lightning lost, and just like turning on the TV and seeing other teams playing and just going, because you want to watch it, but then you don't want to watch it because it's not the Lightning. So we don't have to worry about that right now. We got another Eastern Conference Finals. All right, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some Rays baseball here. Another bummer last night. Can they sustain the next few weeks without Wander Franco and Brandon Lau? What are they going to do about this offense? It's absolutely awful. And then we got issues. Some folks on Twitter want to talk a little bit about the stadium and what's next. We'll hit you with that as well. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you're looking for a new primary care physician, Christopher Lugo and his medical team are awaiting you at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Testosterone replacement therapy, if that's something you're interested in, and you should be. Many of us over 40 have experienced a loss of testosterone because of what's in our food supply, our environment. Everything affects your testosterone, and it's been clinically shown that American men are losing testosterone about 1% a year. So it may even be worse for you. So go check it out, get your blood work done. And if you need to get TRT going, they are experts at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. You're looking to lose weight, get your immune system in order, all those things they can do for you with modern techniques. There's a lot of cutting edge stuff out there. Christopher Lugo works with the military, keeps our pilots in top shape, and he can use those same cutting edge techniques to help you out as well, to keep you in tip top optimal shape. So go to BAMMC.com, BAMMC.com, and get the contact information, get an appointment, and tell them JP sent you, please. All right. So the Rays last night losing again to the Rangers 3-0. I'm just getting very, very distressed at this offense. And I don't see where things are going to get any better anytime soon. Mr. Nick Geddes, you're the ultimate optimist when it comes to the Rays here.
I can't find it.
It's tough to watch.
I can't find it right now. Last night, I turned on the game. Well, first of all, quick little rant. Bally Sports, the app, is awful.
Is it supposed to be working now?
They haven't launched the streaming service, but they've had this app for a long time, and this is what I use to watch the Rays games. I mean, it doesn't work. It does not work.
Well, that can be a problem.
And I'm not the only one. Every single night, there's always people putting these little screenshots where it just tells you error has occurred. And that's what you get when you try to watch the Rays game. So I have to go jump through hoops to watch the Rays.
What the hell is going on with that?
I don't know. But if they're going to charge $19.99 a month for this garbage,
it better
work. So anyway.
I mean, in this day and age, how can your streaming service not work?
I have no idea. But it's really bad. But anyway, so I watched the Rays game last night, and the entire time, everybody on my timeline is talking about Oilers Avalanche, and I missed the entire first two periods of the game because I was trying to be an optimist and watch the entire Rays game because I missed most of the New York series, and I was like, I'm gonna sit down and I watch the Rays game, enjoy myself.
Yeah,
I enjoyed nothing. I was very, very bored from that game. It started. I knew right away, bad omens right away, similar to how G-Man Choi got robbed.
Yeah.
The game prior,
Monday
the home
night,
run. Last night, Manuel Margot comes up to the plate and hits a freaking rope to center.
Yeah.
And of course, Adolis Garcia comes in and dives and makes the catch. And I said, oh, well, there you go. That's the omen for the night right there. And it was 3 hits. Three hits off Martin Perez.
3 hits early and nothing else.
And they've done well against Martin Perez. This was the 17 times they faced him, and his ERA going in was over 6 against the Rays. So the Rays have had his number. They've seen him for the last handful of years, and they did nothing against him. And I mean, Martin Perez, again, maybe they just ran into another good pitcher because I know he leads the league right now in ERA.
He does.
He made it
It's
even
been
better.
very good.
He made it even better last night.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. The Rays are coming in and facing really good starting pitching right now, and they're not matching up. But the lineup, I mean, the all right-handed lineup, might I add.
It's awful.
Nothing.
It's awful. Every time they go with it, it's awful. I'm at my wit's end with this, and Franco now, Wander Franco's on the DL for 2 weeks, maybe longer. He's got a pulled quad issue, did an MRI. And again, he said last week that the trop was part of the problem. And you mentioned those road and home splits. At home, he's hitting 220 with 15 strikeouts. And on the road, he's hitting 338 with 5 strikeouts. I mean, that's a huge disparity. It's very Willie Adames-esque, and he's the future of your franchise. I mean, if we didn't have urgency to get a new stadium already, this is some more urgency. And they need to do something about the turf.
Yeah.
They just have to.
Yeah, I'll give you some numbers here on this offense. The Rays, I mean, the offense the first month or so was actually in the top 10. I remember telling you that, and you were surprised.
Yeah.
Let me give you this. Their on-base percentage as a team, 295. That is 26 in the league, below the Rangers, Pirates, Orioles, Reds, Royals, Diamondbacks.
Wow.
All are getting on base at a higher rate than the Rays. In regards to runs scored, just straight up run scored, the Rays have fallen all the way down to 18th, and they were in the top 5, I believe it's at one point not too long ago.
Yeah.
even in batting average. I know a lot of you don't like batting average, but I do. 233 they're hitting as a team. That's down to 22nd. They were in the top 5 not too long ago.
Wow.
So they're falling back across the board with that lineup. And last night, the bottom 3 guys in the order are all hitting under the Mendoza line.
Right.
And that's daily. That's daily. I'm looking at the lineup and I see 3 or 4 guys hitting under 200.
I haven't gotten any ECF Paredes texts at me lately. And I do remember when Joey Wendell and Austin Meadows were in this lineup, it was better.
They miss Joey Wendell. I think that's the one. And I might be biased because that was my guy, Mr. Wendell. But I think they miss him and they might have undervalued him a little bit by letting him go because they thought they had a log jam. I mean, Joey Wendell was giving you 280 to 300 at least. Solid defense, nothing to complain about. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Heart and soul kind of guy.
He's not the only reason why they're failing, but I think it's just another. I would have liked to see him still.
Yeah, and you can say what you want about Austin Meadows. I know he was on the IL and hasn't, had a terrific start to this season, but he was good when he was with us. And it's just hard to take that kind of pop out of the lineup unless you're going to replace it with something else. And, they counted on Lau to come up here and do something. And he's still at AAA. He's back at AAA. So low. Sorry, I'm always my brain just cannot wrap around those. Yeah, that's we thought Josh Lowe would be a big answer here, and he hasn't been, and he's not. He's not tearing up AAA.
Well, that's the problem that I tried to tell everybody, and we've said this is like you can love the prospects all you want, but again, if you're a team that has World Series aspirations, I think you're very naive to think that you can just have a bunch of rookies come up and they're all going to just mash at the same time.
Exactly.
And when we have injuries like we do right now with Brandon Lau, with Wander Franco, right now Zunino's been slow to get going this year. I mean, did we expect him to hit 33 home runs again? I did not. But he's kind of reverted right back to what he's been.
Complete hole in the lineup right now.
Complete hole in the lineup. Taylor Walls, complete hole in the lineup right now. I know his hitting's coming around a little bit, but again, not good enough. Vidal Brujan has not proven anything at the major league level.
Nope.
I think that's part of the problem too. The prospects that they've counted on, Brujan, Paredes, Josh Lowe, when he was up here, they haven't exactly been what they wanted right away. And that's the problem. You can't just have a bunch of guys like that in the lineup on a team that I thought had World Series aspirations and think that it's going to work. And this is what you get.
Yeah, and you talk about them being streaky offensively. Streaky is another word for bad. Every team, you got major league players, they're going to get some hits every now and then when, the pitcher's not on his game. But, offense is about consistency. And I just don't ever see this offense being consistent with what they have right now to work with, even when, Wander Franco's in the lineup because they're just pitching around him. And, Brandon Lau he's been injured and inconsistent. He's inconsistent. He can get hot and he can get streaky and put up some huge numbers, but we saw what happened in postseason. He just goes completely silent. And, that's right now where you see the weakness in this roster.
Yeah, it's a weakness, but I did put it out there yesterday. I mean, 28 and 21, the way the Rays have played.
I know.
You take it. And they've had some series wins against some really good teams. They split against New York where they didn't really deserve a split. And
they didn't.
So did they match up to New York in that series? I guess so. I still thought it was lopsided a little bit.
I think they got lucky to win those last two games.
I thought they did too. But you get 6 games against the Yankees in June, so there's going to be some opportunities for you to kind of get back into it because I think right now the Yankees, they look like they're running away with the division. And then you're going to have to be playing the wild card game. And we're already in June, so that's why I'm talking about it. We're already in June. It's here. But the Rays have played their B- baseball.
And that's the only thing. That's the only thing that gives you hope is that they can be a hell of a lot better, especially defensively. Defensively, they've been god awful and probably given away, I'd say 4 or 5 games.
Probably, yeah.
And defensively, which is something they never do. That's always a plus for them. So they, you figure this group especially, I think, will be way better defensively. I think Taylor Walls calms down. Franco, they still have a hell of a hole at first base. They really do. And I don't know what they're going to do about it, but it's just that's costing them games. There's no question about defense at first base. And there's a lot of chatter on at least this week from the move the Rays to Tampa folks who are, I guess, pissing some people off because of their chatter. But, again, there's not been a lot of official talk about what's going on. And to me, that's not good. I mean, this is such a huge front burner issue, especially now with Franco being injured and using and saying that the Trop is part of it. I mean, the urgency has to be, obviously front burner. That's not, something that they can wait a whole lot of time to do, and they got to get this freaking deal done. And we're hearing absolutely nothing. So we'd like to see more, and it's good that the Rays are marketing more. We're seeing more signs in the Hillsborough County area. I think that's good. I mean, this past weekend attendance was fantastic. We want to see more. I think people are energized to go to games more. I don't think there's any question about that. But again, Stu Sternberg, you could do even better and get some family packs out there, get some ticket specials out there. Signs are great. Billboards are great, but you need, especially in this economy, to be able to, get families to the ballpark, and they're not doing that like other teams are doing. And we need to keep bitching about it on Twitter. We need to keep bitching about it on here. And hopefully the Rays will eventually do marketing that other teams do. Every team in this league has these family packs and all kinds of stuff. I've heard people talk about, the Rays have a student program. I signed up for it, never got any information on it. They never emailed me anything on it. So they need to be better to get fans in the ballpark and to get this new stadium done, which, for God's sakes, let's get her done. What else did I want to hit from the Rays perspective? Shane Baz has had, 3 good starts now in the minor leagues, so I would expect him to be called up anytime now.
Well, I think a listener had pointed out to us he was actually on the 60-day when they put him, so that's kind of why he's doing an extended stay at Durham. So because he has to wait until, I think he has a week or 2 left to go on that stint, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's the reason why he's still doing his rehab outings. But he's been great.
Yeah,
he clearly looks like he's ready to come back now.
And that's if they can, just get this offense just back to average, and you got, clearly McClanahan's been fantastic. Boz has been great. Kluber's been kind of inconsistent. He's okay. I think Rasmussen just gets better and better despite his last outing. And then you add Shane Boz to that. The bullpen, we need to get a couple of those arms back as well. And, then you got a team that can be in every game with that type of pitching.
I'm curious what happens with the pitching now, because it looked a lot clearer when Baz got back. But to be honest with you, Ryan Yarbrough, I think, has actually been pretty good.
It's good last night. It's a quality start.
He's been really good lately in general.
Yeah.
He got I think he got screwed over in the New York game because the offense kind of went dead for him.
Again.
But Ryan Yarbrough looks like a guy who's pitching like he wants to stay in the rotation.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Springs, outside his last, even his last outing wasn't too bad. He's been pretty good.
I think he goes tonight, right?
He goes tonight. So, he's another guy that's probably fighting his ass off.
But we'd love to see him go back to the bullpen. That's where he can really help this team.
To be a nice bulk guy back there.
As we bring these starters back, so these guys slide back into their more natural slots.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. I think when it regards to Luis Patino, who's a little further out from coming back, his spot back in the rotation looks like it's non-existent. I don't see him getting back in the rotation when he gets back. But it's a good problem to have. There's one thing you can say: the Rays have the best arms probably in baseball, I'd say. The collection of them.
Yeah. We got to combine it with some offense and some defense, which has been lagging. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher feud continues at the SEC meetings. Billy Napier, Gators' new coach, spoke as well. And have you seen the player list for this new big LIV tour in London? Looks like the freaking John Deere Classic in mid-August. This is a joke. We'll talk about it next. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new, healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Get your insurance checkup right now. Save some money in these inflationary times. Have them shop around your homeowner's insurance, which is skyrocketed. Auto insurance, life insurance, whatever you need, shop it around. Look how much you pay for insurance in total. Then have them shop it around and see how much they can save you. A lot of new folks coming into the market, new companies that are looking to gain some more market share. So they offer some lower prices, and you might be able to save some money on your insurance. So give them a call, 813-877-7799, or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. All right, so the feud between Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher rages on at the SEC meetings day in Destin. I guess yesterday, according to Paul Feinbaum, Saban basically dismissed anything that Jimbo Fisher said. And Jimbo Fisher, obviously Saban, when he made his comments, He's talked about A&M buying up all their players when, of course, Alabama's using NIL money as well. Talked about Deion Sanders, and then he apologized. He said he shouldn't have been specific about any programs, but didn't say anybody did anything wrong, which, of course, semantics here, but he said they bought their players, which is legal now. You can do that with NIL money. And then yesterday, Saban just basically dismissed anything that Jimbo Fisher said. What Jimbo Fisher said was personal, and I mean nasty personal, calling him a narcissist, telling him to check in the way he's done his business, basically calling him a liar and a cheater. I mean, that was serious stuff. And Saban's just trying to let it blow over. But Jimbo Fisher is going to meet the media today, and I'll be interested to see how this goes down and see what he says.
Well, Lane Kiffin kind of put it in a great way yesterday. He's like, you put all these guys, he's like, remarkably, when we were all in the room together, everybody's nice and calm. It's only when you get them all, they're not in front of them,
right,
is when they want to start running their mouth, which is indicative of the world we live in anyway.
So you saying Jimbo Fisher won't say that to his face? Nick Saban's face?
Exactly what I'm saying, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. To me, I just don't understand how these guys are both going to get up on the podium and try to defend themselves. Like, we all know what you're doing, and I'm not even casting judgment, to be honest.
No, it's legal.
Because this has been going on for 40, 50 years in some variation, and now it's especially legal. I could give a crap how you got your player. I mean, really. I mean, so for them to get up here and get on their moral high horse to try to defend themselves, man, collegiate coaching, it just seems like you have to have some sense of like you have to drop your morals a little bit. It seems like when you're coaching that profession.
Yeah.
And that goes for every coach that's in it.
Yeah.
Honestly. So, and Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher trying to be the moral compass. Oh, please.
Well, and I think that's why Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, was so upset, is like, y'all are like basically telling the world how the sausage is made. We don't want people to know how the sausage is made.
This is a wrestling analogy right here. This is pulling back the curtain.
Yeah.
That's what it's
exactly
doing. This is exposing the secrets.
Yeah. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
If you're the SEC is the big dog, you don't want to understand. It's always been honor among thieves in the SEC. We know that they're all paying their players. We know, and it's not just in the SEC. It's all the big programs. It's everywhere. If you've got boosters and they want to be involved, and now they can legally get involved, this is what's going to happen. So let's not, and that's why I think Sankey was so pissed off. Is like, guys, like, just, you want to get pissed off at each other, don't do it in a public forum. And see, Jimbo wants to talk about Saban being a narcissist. That dude is right there with him, like step in lockstep. I mean, come on. He had to call a press conference. He had to come out and start yelling at Nick Saban. And I guarantee you this: if he didn't beat Nick Saban last year, he wouldn't have done it.
He used it as a chance as a recruiting tool. That's what it
exactly.
was.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he was not. I mean, you look at his face; he's all fired up. He's speaking to recruits. He's tooting his own horn. And again, I'm not trying to cast judgment or anything, but just that's what you're doing. I hope they realize that we as a public see that. Like, we're not on board with like, yeah, Jimbo, you tell him. No, we're not. And I'm not the same way for Nick Saban. Yeah, you tell him. No, you're both, all of you.
Yeah, it's so it'll be interesting to see what Fisher says today. I think he'll probably back off the personal insults.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he might as well, which is sad. I want more. I want more drama.
It's a great story.
I want more drama. Absolutely. Billy Napier chatted yesterday as well. I heard Lane Kiffin talking about them. They coached together at Alabama 2016 through 2018. Napier was the receivers coach there and credited with bringing in Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper and some of these other great Calvin Ridley, these great receivers, and really feels like Napier is going to do a great job at Florida. And he's already getting some big time recruits, but we'll see how he can coach these guys up. What's shocking to me is how Anthony Richardson is like suddenly a top 3 draft pick in the NFL. Like, last time I checked, he hasn't done shit.
What are you talking about?
Anthony Richardson.
And based on talent, he is a top. To me, he's right there behind Young and Stroud for quarterbacks next year. I think everybody knew that, except for Dan Mullen. He's the only one. You watched Anthony Richardson play.
Yeah, but he's as raw as freaking carrots coming out of the ground. I mean, come on. This guy is he is not polished whatsoever. He's inaccurate. Come on.
I mean,
first
look at
round
him.
draft.
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah, he's big. He runs fast. He throws.
Do I need to run
he throws the ball a long way. A lot more to quarterbacking than that.
Do I need to run off the list of names of quarterbacks who I know have gone into the first round who didn't have an ounce of talent like Anthony Richardson? Do I need to run them off?
Well,
for transparency's sake here,
I can run off just as many that can run fast and throw the ball 70 yards
cool.
that ain't quarterbacks.
For transparency's sake, I'm
NFL.
just going to point this out to you. For the Florida State boys, Christian Ponder and EJ Manuel were first-round quarterbacks. And did they look like first-round quarterbacks in college?
Nor should they. Should they have been?
No.
I would have said the same thing about them. No.
Tim Tebow, was he a first-round quarterback? No.
Well, he was.
He shouldn't have been.
Won a playoff game. No, in this, guess what? Tim Tebow could run fast and throw the ball
Anthony
and put
Richardson
up big numbers.
You saw what he did to USF.
Of course, he's an incredible athletic talent. I think he's a long way from being a polished NFL quarterback.
I think this year he's gonna explode.
Well,
because Dan Mullen didn't clearly, for whatever reason, didn't unlock anything.
Well, is that Dan Mullen? Dan Mullen's been a pretty good
that's on Dan
developer.
Mullen.
Well, he's done a pretty good job developing quarterbacks, and he's got a pretty good resume.
Do you know how many carries Dameon Pierce got last year?
I don't know.
Like under 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every time he got a carry, I thought he was doing something.
Oh, I'm not saying Dan
I'm not
Mullen.
going to bat for Dan Mullen as a talent evaluator right now.
He's been a very good developer of quarterbacks.
Where's he coaching right
and
now? High school.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if Anthony Richardson is going to be this superstar quarterback. I think he can be really, really good, but I think we're a long way from making him the top pick in the draft, which some people already are, which I think is crazy. So here is your new LIV golf list that are going to play for $28 or $25 million. Dustin Johnson, who, by the way, is now ranked 13th in the world. And hasn't won a whole lot of anything in a long time. Sergio Garcia, and then a lot of Kevin Nas, Louis Oosthuizens, Ian Poulter, Charles Schwartzels, and Lee Westwood. Phil Mickelson was not included on the list that was released yesterday. Greg Norman says the final 6 spots will be fielded by qualifiers from an Asian tour event. This is the big World Tour that we were thinking was threatening the PGA Tour. And what does the PGA Tour now do with Dustin Johnson?
Well, Dustin Johnson, I to me it reeks of, like you said, he's not playing his best golf right now. I don't know if he's won since the 2020 Masters, if I'm correct. He hasn't been a while. He hasn't been great in any of the majors this year, right? He hasn't really been in contention. He's not he's not the most entertaining figure. I don't think he's a needle mover necessarily, to be honest with you. I think he's just a name because he was a world number 1 for like a year or two.
When he was playing. He's playing great.
I don't think he's a needle mover, though.
Not right now. Not when you're playing average golf.
So
because his personality certainly ain't going to drive it.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a huge loss for the PGA Tour, to be honest with you. But I know like RBC, he's like RBC's like his main sponsor, and they have the RBC heritage, and they put out a statement kind of indicating they're going to sever ties with him. So that's the thing. It's like you're going to start losing sponsors when you do this kind of stuff. But anyway, back to the list. I mean, this is the list that they kept delaying and holding off, if you recall, for weeks. Like every day they would be like,
right.
It would be like, okay, the list is coming out today.
It's
and
embarrassing.
They just kept delaying and delaying and delaying.
I mean, this is not even close to the Valspar field.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Greg Norman, too. I love how he did this one. About a month ago, he's like, yeah, we got a former world number 1 committed. And you know who it turned out to be? Martin Keimer, who was a world number 1 for like maybe a cup of coffee 13 years ago.
Not a needle mover again.
Because I want to watch Martin Keimer and Ian Poulter and Lee Westwood, the guys who were winning tournaments 20 years ago. Yeah, I want to watch them.
So Dustin Johnson said, I feel it is now time to put such speculation to rest. I'm fully committed to the PGA Tour, as he tees it up with the LIV Tour. What?
It doesn't work like that.
You're not fully committed to the PGA Tour. The fully committed guys are playing on the PGA Tour. You're playing in the LIV.
And they didn't give releases to any of these PGA Tour players. And they've threatened over and over to ban you for life. And I truly think that's probably what's going to happen.
Well, he's certainly going to get a suspension, I would think. If the PGA Tour is going to play hardball, which, frankly, they need to protect their tour, if they let Dustin Johnson play with no consequences, everybody else is going to go play.
Bad presidents there.
Everybody else is going to go play. So he can sit here and put all these platitudes out to the PGA Tour. I'm grateful for the opportunity to play on the best tour in the world and for all it has provided me and my family. And then has a statement from his agent as well, David Winkle. Dustin has been contemplating the opportunity off and on for the past couple of years. Ultimately, he decided it was in his and his family's best interest to pursue it. Dustin has never had an issue with the PGA Tour and is grateful for all it has given him, but in the end felt this was too compelling to pass up. Norman said in a statement that free agency has finally come to golf. Yeah, well, I think it's going to get shut down. And this is the question for the PGA Tour right now. What do you do with Dustin Johnson? And if I'm the commissioner, I'm suspending him.
You have to.
You have to.
I mean, if you're going to
he forced your hand.
We don't know if they quote unquote suspended Phil Mickelson for making comments about the damn tour.
I think he did.
I think he did.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. We'll see how it plays out. Me, for one, I ain't watching it this weekend. I may peer in just out of curiosity, but not much. All right, our thanks to Scott Reynolds and Brian Bradley, who joined us today. If you missed anything, you can always go back to our website, fanstreamsports.com, or Apple and Spotify. Just hit the podcast and download our app each and every day. You can listen to us anytime, anywhere on the FanStream Sports app. Just all one word, download it and get it. Game 1 tonight, watch party at Amalie Arena. Have a great night, everybody, and go Bolts.